Spider-Man No Way Home, otherwise known as the most depressing Spider-Man movie. Hello everybody, my name's Zach Roseman, and welcome, fucking finally, to my review for Spider-Man No Way Home. I know, I'm fucking late to this. I'm so late. I'm late, but better late than never. Also, in case you can't tell what fucking setup, I'm using my phone as a camera because as I said, Werewolf by Night, my fucking camera isn't working. Whatever. This movie's fucking awesome. I rewatched it like about a couple weeks ago. I wrote this review as I was watching it because this is my third rewatch of the movie, which is surprisingly low for watching this kind of movie. But this movie came out in 2021, so don't be confused when you see it in the 2021 playlist rather than the 2022 movie review playlist. Anyway, I'm going to be starting with the negatives, because that's like the very few negatives I have with the movie. I think they're mostly nitpicks, too. The first 10 minutes are the worst part of the movie. It rushes to get to the main story. I don't like how they brush aside Peter's legal troubles. And other than the Matt Murdock cameo, it's not a great way to start the movie. But I will say, I have not seen the extended, like, more fun stuff version of the movie because I kind of watched the theater reaction to that. It wasn't anything special, other than it added a scene to a certain trio that we'll see later in the review. Anyway, but after the scene that Ned, MJ, and Peter find out that they didn't get accepted to MIT, that leads to Peter going to Strange. That's where the movie truly begins. In my humble opinion, Doctor Strange was the perfect choice to be Peter's big-name superhero buddy for this movie. And I just love how later in the movie, Strange respects him for doing the right thing, even though it bites him in the ass later. And I love that. The fight scene between Pete and Doc Ock was really good, or pretty good. I love seeing a version of Peter that actually stood a chance against Otto, and the way it segues to Green Goblin's reintroduction. And that part in the movie where like he flies in with his glider is so fucking cool. I love that part. Speaking of Gobby, holy hell, he's hands down the best part of this movie. The way he mentally torments Peter is amazing. He tears him down to a point where during the final battle, Peter stops pulling his punches and has fire in his eyes. Love it. But other than Doc Ock and Goblin, the rest of the villains are just there. Electro is there for comedic relief, and Sandman and Lizard don't do anything. Sandman has like a reintroduction to who he thinks is Toby, but is actually Tom. And he's like confused about that. But that's the only scene where he's like actually important. The rest of the movie, he's just there. The rest of the other villains are just there. Lizard doesn't even get a few lines, and I think that's only because the actor that played the Lizard couldn't get to the set because of COVID. So they get a pass. But this kind of sucks considering that this will probably be the closest we'll get to a Spider-Man fighting the Sinister Six in live action. I know it's only 5, but still. Moving on, I really liked the Doctor Strange and Peter fight. You can tell Strange is holding back, and I love how this fight shows off Peter's smarts, where he traps Strange in the mirror dimension using geometry. It was a clever way to end the fight and was a good way of taking Strange out of the movie for a little bit. I also love how Peter wants to help the villains get cures so they don't get killed by Spider-Man. I also love how Aunt May gives Peter the motivation to do this. I just love Aunt May's involvement in this movie in general. I thought that she was a bit underused in both Homecoming and Far From Home. She was just there for comedic relief, but I love how she gets more screen time in this one, and I love how she encourages Peter to help the villains, something that comes to bite both her and Peter in the ass later. And I really love the scene where Norman and Peter cure Otto. The way Otto delivers his lines and the lack of music really makes the moment more impactful. I also love how this leads into the best scenes of this movie. Seriously, the best scenes in this movie are like this whole section. The way Norman switches to Goblin, Peter realizing causing him to web Goblin's hand. The use of Peter's spider senses in this scene was really good. Tom's face acting was so fucking good, dude. Like the way he can convey like something being wrong in the room, and he's trying to find out what exactly is going on was really good. I love that part. Anyway, and Goblin's speech in general is very well done, and it's a great way to kick off the Kondo fight. I put fight in quotations because this fight is very one-sided. Because Goblin fucking destroys Peter. He gets some defense in. He punches Goblin a few times, and it leads to the scene where he can feel the punches, but he's laughing at him, and that's really cool to see. Because it just shows that that Goblin is a fucking psychopath. I also love the way it ends too, with Aunt May attempting to with Aunt May attempting to cure Goblin, only for it to not work, causing Goblin to call in his fire, which just sends Aunt May flying. And the scene ends with Goblin just blowing up the feast building, which is just what a great scene. The way they did Aunt May's death in this movie is heart-wrenching. All thanks to Tom Holland's and Marissa Tomei's performance. The way Peter realizes that May is bleeding out is just sad. And when she finally does die, Peter desperately tries to wake her up, but he knows she's dead. And he is forced to run away since police arrive and shoot at him. Leading into one of the best, I swear, I know I'm going to say this a lot, one of the best scenes in this fucking movie. I swear. It's so well shot. I fucking love it. The way it opens on Peter in the rain, looking at J. Jonah Jameson's report about the fight, and the way he just stands there, it's such a beautiful scene. The cinematography, acting, and lighting in the scene is perfect. Like, this whole scene is my favorite because it really shows Peter down in his dumps. He is like the lowest he's ever been, I think, since Endgame, when Tony died. That was his lowest during Tom's run as Spider-Man. I can't think of another. Well, I think the pillar scene in Homecoming where he's lifting it and he's freaking out about being stuck. I think that was like his first indication that he's just a kid. Even in this movie, everything goes through. He's still just a kid. We gotta remember that he was Blit for 5 years, so he's still 16. I think he was 15. No, he said 16 in Homecoming, so I think he's still 16. They don't tell us this shit, and that's what I hate. Anyway, these scenes are probably this whole pile of scenes with the Kondo fight, with the Aunt May's death, with Peter in the rain. Those are the darkest scenes of the movie. The way it perfectly captures Peter's downfall, Goblin rallying up the villains, the one-sided fight between Peter and Goblin, to May's death, to Peter standing in the rain, mentally broken. It's such a great sequence of events, and I love how it leads into the next section of the movie, which I'm sure It's gonna be heavily debatable, or not debatable at all. It's everyone's favorite scenes in the movie. If you ask anyone who's seen this movie, their favorite scene will be this part. The way it segues from the most depressing part of the movie to a scene that made everyone go batshit insane in the theater is perfect. It starts out with Ned and MJ, who found out about May's death, and they are trying to reach they're trying to reach Peter. My bad. And Ned says that he wishes that they could just see him, and there's a spark. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. When Peter and Strange were fighting, Peter took a sling ring, and gave it to Ned. And when they did their little fucking handshake they were doing, like a little fuck this camera. The way they were doing like a little fist bump handshake thing, and there was a spark when they did this, and so he's magic. And that was a hint towards Ned being everyone's favorite character later, or like in a minute. Anyways, Ned opens a portal, and they see Peter, but it's not their Peter. He runs into the portal, and it is Andrew fucking Garfield's Peter Parker. Hear the crowd noises. The first few scenes between Andrew's Peter and Ned and MJ are great. The way he geeks out about magic being real is awesome. Since they got the wrong, and the best part, since they got the wrong Peter, wow, I really, really hate my grammar, because on my script it says since that they got the wrong Peter. Anyway, Ned tries again. He opens a portal, and out comes Tobey Maguire, aka the OG Spidey. Give the crowd wrote noises one more time. And such a great moment. The way they introduced both of the previous Spideys is well done. Both dudes were a part of my childhood, as many others, and to see them share the screen together was amazing. No pun intended. When they figure out where Tom's Peter is and all four go to him is so good. The way Ned, MJ, and Peter group hug as Peter is sobbing is so sad, and the way MJ tells him there's people there for him, and he immediately gets up and is ready to fight, only to discover that it's Tobey and Andrew. It's really well done. I love how Tom's Peter is just done. He is so mentally broken and angry, doesn't care anymore. But when Tobey and Andrew share their stories about loss, Tobey telling what happened to his Uncle Ben, and Andrew telling him about Gwen, it leads to Tom's Peter telling the other two what Aunt May said, which is such a good way of showing how all three Peters are the same. I fucking love it. Also, for the rest of this review, I'm not gonna be calling Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3. I'm gonna be calling Tom, Tobey, and Andrew. Got it? Yeah. The scenes where all three Peters work together to make cures for the other villains is so good. And the way they set up the final battle is phenomenal. I fucking love it. Tom's Peter going on Jonah's show and sending a message to the villains to come to the Statue of Liberty is awesome. Also, I love how Tom mentions that they're at a place where they can have second chances. Because I love that's a way of hinting towards both Tobey and Andrew's redemption of their past mistakes. Because Tobey saves Goblin, someone who he failed to save in his first movie, and Andrew saves MJ as his redemption for not being able to save Gwen. That is foreshadowing at its finest, folks. Back to the movie. The scene where Tom, Andrew, and Tobey banter is great. It's so fucking cool to see three Spider-Men talking to each other about their villains. I just love how natural it comes off. All three have great chemistry. Get it? Science. Yeah. Okay. And this is a dream come true for Spider-Man fans because I remember as a kid, bit of a story time. But I remember as a kid, I was thinking, this was back whenever I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2. I was talking to my friend one time. You're like, hey, it would be crazy to see if we ever got a movie with Tom, with both Toby and Andrew in a movie together. And I brought this idea back up when Homecoming came out. And I said, man, I really wish they made a movie where it was Tom, Toby, and Andrew. And I know this sounds like bullshit, but believe me, it's fucking not. This is something I've been thinking about for years. For years I wanted to see this shit happen, and it finally happens. I fucking love it. Like I have the biggest smile on my face. I always had the biggest smile on my face with these scenes. I'm spitting everywhere. All right. Where am I? Oh, I also love when the battle starts. They don't know how to work as a team, leading to Tom telling them that he was a part of the Avengers, which confuses Toby and Andrew. And the scene where all three Spider-Men swing together is hands down the best scene that was ever in a Spider-Man movie. And it's something that the child in me always wanted. Holy shit. But I think what could have made the scene a lot better was if they used the Spider-Man theme, like dun 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 dun, that song. That would be so fucking sick, because that's, surprisingly enough, that song has never been in a Spider-Man movie, as far as my knowledge, except for Spider-Man Homecoming. I think that's the only movie that theme has ever been in. And Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the ringtone. That's the only two movies where they have that theme. I really wish they used it for like the three swinging. But still, this is still a cool fucking scene to actually watch. I fucking love it. Skipping ahead, I love how after Electro gets cured, Andrew and him get a scene together. It's just a nice scene where they just talk. Andrew reassures Max that he was never a nobody. And I love that Max drops a reference to Miles when he says that there's gotta be a black Spider-Man out there. I'm gonna kill this fucking camera. Just cool little reference to Miles, and fucking Andrew goes. Same with Toby and Otto. The way Otto has a big smile on his face seeing him is great. And him asking how are you is wholesome. But the way Goblin comes back into the movie was awesome. When he says his iconic line and Toby's senses going off, is great. I love how Goblin comes back with a bang, literally, since he blows up the box and the Statue of Liberty starts to fall apart. Leading to MJ falling, Tom tries to save her, but Goblin swoops him up, leading to Andrew saving MJ. Andrew crying because he succeeded after failing to save Gwen. It's just such a nice way to end that arc. Because as much as I really don't like the Amazing Spider-Man movies, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 still has some of the best scenes in a Spider-Man movie. Well, up until No Way Home released. Like, there's a handful of scenes in that movie I still really like. And Gwen's scene was heartbreaking, even in a Spider-Man movie, because up until Amazing Spider-Man 2 release, Spider-Man was just like a lighthearted comic book character, because there was never really any like dark scenes with him in the movies. But Amazing Spider-Man 2 proved that you can be dark while still being a Spider-Man movie. I love that. I just love that. I also love that this leads into the final battle between Tom and Goblin, which does not disappoint. I love that Tom isn't playing around. He's being strategic and dodging Goblin's attacks, I love how he just beats the living shit out of him. There's a moment where Tom goes in the air and punches downward. Goblin dodges and Tom punches through the metal, showing that he isn't pulling his punches. And I like that this actually goes back to Andrew's statement earlier today, where he said he stopped pulling his punches after Gwen's death. That was a neat little not callback. Is that a callback? I'm gonna call it a callback. In the last few moments of the fight, where Tom just wails on Goblin and he picks up his glider and attempts to kill Goblin, but Toby prevents him, it's just chef's kiss. Jesus Christ. I love this scene because the way both Tom and Toby say a lot with just their eyes. Like, the way they're acting with their eyes without speaking a word is great. And where the fuck am I at? The way Tom drops the glider and calms down, but Goblin just stabs Toby and Tom goes in and cures him, ending the fight. Great way to end that, because it keeps Tom from killing him. Sorry, I just literally paused and drank soda. Anyway, after all of that, Tom goes to Strange, who throughout the battle was holding off the other universes from coming into their universe. And he suggests that what if they did the spell again, this time make everyone forget who Peter Parker is entirely. This is a sad scene, but it's also what makes Tom's Peter so great. He accepts being forgotten entirely for the sake of the multiverse. Doctor Strange reluctantly agrees to do it, but gives Peter time to say goodbye to his friends. That really makes me love Doctor Strange a whole lot more. Really wish we got the same Doctor Strange with fucking Multiverse of Madness. That was still a great movie, though. Anyway, the scene where Peter says goodbye to Toby and Andrew is so wholesome because it's essentially Tom saying thank you to Toby and Andrew, and the group hug is an image that just brings me joy. And it's literally my fucking desktop wallpaper. Literally, Andrew staring at me right now. And lastly, the scene where Peter says goodbye to MJ and Ned is heart-wrenching. Peter is saying goodbye to his girlfriend and best friend, who at this point are the only people he has left. And he swings off as Strange starts the spell, making everyone forget about Peter Parker. Sad scene, dude. I teared up in the scene. At school, too. What I really love about the last few scenes is how Peter just accepts being forgotten. He goes to the donut shop where MJ works at, and he was going to tell her something, but he doesn't. He sees the two people he cares about the most happy, and that makes him happy. I also just love where this movie leaves Peter. He's alone. No one in the entire world knows who he is. Has no start tech, leading to the final swing where he is in the classic red and blue suit. He flips off the roof in free fall, swinging off of buildings. He is no longer living separate lives. He is Spider-Man. Just wrapping up, MCU Peter Parker may be my favorite version of the character. He starts out as a kid eager to do Spider-Man stuff, leading to him ditching his friends in school. And then far from home, he just wants a break, but is forced to leave his class trip to fight elementals and Mysterio. And finally, No Way Home, he loses everything. His aunt, girlfriend, best friend, and he is living in an apartment alone. The only thing he has left is Spider-Man, which he embraces. It's such an amazing character arc. What really elevates the character, though, is Tom Holland's performances in the film. His portrayal of Peter is excellent and really makes the character his own. I'm really hoping this isn't the definitive end for Peter, but considering what Phase 5 has in store, I doubt we're going to be seeing the web swinger again anytime soon. And that's okay. Because this trilogy has made me more of a Spider-Man fan than ever. Like, I didn't really care about like Spider-Man: Homecoming when it first came out, but when I saw it, I really loved it because I was really like I was really hell bent on being like, oh, it's shit. I fucking hate it. But I saw it, I loved it, and it really surprised me because like I didn't get interested up until the last few minutes, till the halfway point of that movie where Peter saves the class in the Washington Monument, because that really made me more interested in the movie. But anyway, Spider-Man: No Way Home isn't a perfect film, but all the flaws are very minor, and positives definitely outweigh the negatives here. It's just a really good movie that is a great love letter to Spider-Man. Like this is the best version of the character we've gotten, and I'm really hoping if they do a new trilogy that they stray away from from like from the popular characters, like introducing Harry Osborn, uh, and like I hope they don't do the thing where they just have a Marvel hero like assisting Peter every time, because that got old really quick. Because I didn't like the fact he was under Tony Stark's wing in Homecoming, but I did like the fact that he was more of a father figure to him, and Tony was essentially Peter's Uncle Ben. He died, so Happy took over, and he's essentially not the Uncle Ben, but he fills in for Tony as like a guide to Peter. Where in Far From Home he tells him he's not Tony Stark, he's Spider-Man. That's a good scene in its own. And then in No Way Home and Doctor Strange, this is probably the best iteration of the famous Marvel character assisting Spider-Man trope that these movies had. And I really like Doctor Strange in this movie compared to Tony and Happy in Far From Home and Homecoming. And that's my review. Sorry if this was long, but I had a lot to say about this movie, and I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like the video and subscribe if you want more videos of mine. Click up in the bubble, like over here, for either the Morbius reaction or the Werewolf by Night reaction. I'll probably make a separate playlist for like Marvel shit. And remember, with great power comes great big booty bitches. Damn it!